Hello fellow YouTubers and World of Warship enthusiasts. Today I'm looking at the Regalo Lauria, which is essentially, or Regalo di Lauria, essentially a tier 10 Italian special battleship, right? You can get this ship for steel. There are other picks that people would recommend before this one. Mecklenburg springs to mind. Bourgogne, okay, also springs to mind. But this is a pretty fine example of an Italian sap-firing battleship. She's pretty strong. She's got good armor. She's fast. Okay, he's running a brisk build. Dumpy Frog is the one who's putting her through her paces today. And thank you for the upload, Dumpy Frog. Much appreciated, mate. Good detection. She's got 12.3 kilometer detect. But the guns are shorter range to compensate. They're around the 19.8 kilometer mark, okay? But 457 millimeter sap from 8 barrels in 4 turrets, right? With AP as a backup if anyone shows you broadside. Strong. She also gets a spotter plane. And if you're wondering with the armor profile, she's got 32 millimeter bow and stern, okay? And in between, a lot of citadel that is just above the waterline. She's a fairly low profile ship. The citadel armor is within the range of 300 to 450 millimeters, and so as long as you're angled, you're pretty safe in her. And her superstructure, I believe, is a standard 19 mil. But we see in quite a few battleships, right? Okay, so he's in a squadron with a Marceau scouting and a Schlieffelen. Okay, they're on the right flank, and he's putting some fire down on the Azuma. There go the 457 millimeter sap shells. Azuma's turning out to avoid, and the shells land short as a result. He literally just slowed down and turned out, which is a pretty common tactic in cruisers. I often like to give them a little bit of height. Just aim slightly above where you think they are, because they're likely to move into that space when they turn out. Yeah. I don't think he's going to get caught by the same trick twice. I suspect those shells will probably hit. Very unlucky not to hit with those on the Montana. Dispersion let him down a bit. But as you can see, he's charging up the flank, varying his speed to make himself harder to hit. And to, what, 21 knots, slowing down to do a turn. And we get our first damage of the game, 1 penetration for 5,478. Okay, the Lucian B is dropping torps on the Marceau. Good luck with that. Those are deep water torps and will only affect cruisers, battleships, and aircraft carriers. Okay. Missed opportunity on the Lucian B there, but I get it. Turret rotation on this battleship is quite slow. The torpedoes have been avoided adequately. And the Marceau looks like he's finishing off the target. Okay. I can only assume that Dumpy Frog was kind of expecting the Lucian to slow down, because he gave him a little bit too, well, not enough lead. Lead was somewhat lacking there. Okay, ship's in mid. Ship's on the flank. Marceau would like the Kirikaze to smoke for him. Team Green are pushing up the left flank pretty hard, and they're also probing the right. And there you go, some really solid hits on the Montana for around 15k damage. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're angled with sap, you're still going to be hitting angled targets for quite a bit of damage. 15k right there. Okay, he's having another go at the Azuma, who appears to be about to offer broadside, my goodness. Okay, again, decent damage, 4 penetrations, 13,000 damage. I guess we could have switched to AP, but the Azuma was being difficult to read, and the Schlieffelen just takes out the Marcel in a close-range brawl. Meanwhile, the Marceau is kiting around the island, keeping the Montana lit, and the Azuma's heading north. And their Shimakaze just took out the Team Green's Montana. Okay, so we're, what, 5 minutes into the match and both teams are still looking relatively healthy. Although I would say Team Red has been packed out a little harder. The Lucian B is on his last legs. But he does have his super heal, so he could heal up and get back at it. Okay, lining up the Montana. 457mm sap in the air. Montana is angled. Sap delivers 16,434. You see, chunky damage, very solid. Solid, reliable damage. Okay. Marceau takes out the Yamaguri. That's a big scalp, actually. That is a really big scalp. That's going to help Team Green a lot. The Yamaguri is basically a pimped Shimakaze. It's got 6 torpedo launcher stacks instead of 5 torpedo launchers. And it's got 3 of them, so it can drop 18 torpedoes at a time if it wishes to. Okay. Okay. Using the island. To shield himself from all those ships that are sat on Red Team's base. There's potential there for a crossfire if he pushes north too far, so he's slowing down and he's turning in. So he can get his bow armor onto the enemy and not reveal too much of his broadside. Okay, taking a line up at the Lepanto with the sap. Shots fired. Eyeing up the Roussillon. And there you go, another 16k. Just like that. Montana's now looking very shaky indeed. Both teams are down 2 ships each at this point. Coming from the Aki. Okay, Alaska takes out the Montana, but the Paramount takes out the Missouri. It's a pretty even fight right now. It is a pretty even fight. It's defender base, in case you're wondering. And Team Red are pulling together to defend their base as Team Green pushes the flanks. Both flanks have collapsed. So Team Red is being enveloped by Team Green, which is a nasty situation to be in. Team Red desperately need to hold on to this flank, and they've just lost their GQ Johnny. Well played to Marceau there. Schlieffelen running their backup. Shotgun. There's the Aki. Piermont, Lepanto, Aki, and Incomparable are moving up to attack the flank and to move away from the left flank as they're doing it. The Azumas fled to the A line. That's crazy. Up at A7 somewhere. And the Roussillon is pushing through mid to try and get to the Team Green's cap, which is being capped as we speak, probably by the Lucian. My suspicion is the Lucian might have snuck down the flank there while he was low health and healing, and a good play there from the Lucian. He is now capping Team Green's base, and if they don't do anything about that, Team Green will lose. Unless they sink all of Team Red's ships. Aki showing a lot of side to the Lauria. Again, we're using the sap and doing almost 20k damage. I think there was a potential there maybe to use the 457mm AP. But that's still, you can't argue with 20k damage. That's a lot of damage. And so far we got, what, 106,169 in. This ship is just really reliable, isn't it? And she's fast. I mean, we're doing, what, 35 36 knots, heading towards gap 37, 38. If you need to be somewhere in a hurry with Briscoe, I guess you're going to get about 40 knots out of her, almost. Wow. For a battleship, that is pretty damn fast, and he's already chasing down the Roussillon. And has finally switched to AP. And yeah, there you go. 12,000 to the stern section of the Roussillon. As the Marceau and the Lauria push back to base to deal with... Oh, it's a Shimakaze. Plot twist. Shimakaze that I haven't seen all match is capping the base. I wonder where the Lucian is. More good hits on the Roussillon, another 12k. Unfortunately, we're now on fire. 2 fires burning. He puts them out. Roussillon's on 44k down health. Let me see. Now, Shimakaze is probably going to be putting fish in the sea. Another 20k from the AP. Good damage. Okay, Roussillon hits back pretty hard. So, another heal used. Venezia is pushing through with smoke. And the Roussillon is now doomed. I would imagine that will be the kill shot. Yeah. And Frog's team have now become generally offensive. Generally offensive. Of course. Team Red so nearly got the cap. The cap is almost done. And the Shimakaze just took out the Venezia. This is really close. Really close. Right down to the wire. Team Red almost stole a win here. But Team Green have rushed back to cap, which was a very wise move. This has been a hell of a game, actually. Hell of a game. Not much in the way of misplays here at all, to be honest. I might argue a little bit about the not switching to AP soon enough, but it's such a minor niggle because the sap, 457mm sap, does such huge damage that it doesn't really matter. Look at this Shimakaze. Boom! 11,000 health gone, and he's dead. And we get a Confederate and a shoulder-to-shoulder. Ah, wow. Wow.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Power of 457mm sap. And the base is now safe. And the teams are looking pretty even, although I'd say Team Red are shot up the worst. Most of their ships are on low health. The Lucian, the Azuma, the Aki, the Incomparable, and the Permont are all looking a bit shot up. And the Azuma and Lucian are down to one round of shots or someone sneezing a little too loudly, and they're out of there. On Team Green, the Kitakaze is low, the Marceau is low, the Alaska is hanging in there, and as is our friend here in the Lauria. He's probably looking about the healthiest of the lot, to be honest. This is going to be a close game. Kitakaze gets a torpedo hit on the Incomparable and takes him out of the game. And now it's 5v4. Very close game between the two teams. So... Something else I haven't told you about the Lauria is she does have quite a low hit point pool for a battleship. She only gets 79,200 health. And her plating does range up to 457mm in places. That's pretty impressive. Okay. Okay, the firing range is actually 19.3 kilometers. I think I said 19.8. I was thinking of another ship there, probably the Columbia. But it's 19.3 kilometer range with the main guns, and the reload time on those is 30 seconds, which is quite a long reload time. The Sigma is very strong though, 1.8 Sigma, so the guns are fairly accurate. Now we've seen that in this game, haven't we? We've seen quite a lot of accuracy from the main guns. The dispersion is not terrible. The sap shells are capable of doing up to 16,600 damage. That's the maximum sap shell damage. The AP maximum shell damage is 14,900. I'm just reading from some fun stats here. She's got her secondary armament is sap. Okay, so she has sap secondaries. Not particularly accurate, but they exist. Okay. Good hits there on the Pyrmont, or Pyrmonte. 14,500 damage there. And now he looks ready to be taken back to port. Yep, the Alaska caught him in the side. And now we're down to 5v3. This is getting really tense. Still got an Aki in the game, and an Azuma. And out there somewhere is a Lucian that's not looking as shaky as he was, eh? The Lucian is now back to almost half health. Okay. As Team Green looks to capture Team Red's base. I have to be a little bit careful around the Aki. That is essentially a Yamato. With 460mm guns, 6 of them on the nose. In 2 turret arrangement. And she's got bombers, she's got a flight deck, and her bombers hit really hard. Okay. Lucian B just took out the Marceau, that's unfortunate. Oh, it's all going down. Lucian B took out the Kitakaze. The Kitakaze also took out the Lucian B, so they exchanged. And now it's just the Lauria and the Alaska and the Dalaran versus the Aki. As the Azuma finally succumbs to the Lauria's AP. That was a pretty good hit. Alright, he's going to try... He's shooting for the cheek plate, trying to get a Citadel on the Aki. Just under the second turret. And he's staying on the AP because he's fairly confident at close range that he can Citadel what is essentially a Yamato hull. And you know what? He'd be right to think that. Aki punches straight through that 32mm nose armor with her 460s, inflicting a considerable amount of damage, and now he's heading straight at the Lauria. Lauria returns fire with non-pens and ricochets, because the Aki very sensibly stayed bows on. And it looks like we're going for the collision. Is Frog going to collide with the Aki? Yeah. And that ends the match. Wow. I don't think he had any other option. A damn fine match. Well played, sir. Very impressed with that. Didn't have a lot of choice at the end there than to take the ram, as the Aki wasn't showing her Citadel plates as a result. So what do we get here? Let's see. We got coordinated attack. The division destroyed at least 7 ships. That's pretty impressive. We've got an expert. We've got general offensive, 2 of those. We got Confederate. We've got shoulder to shoulder. We've got strike team, and we've got high caliber. That's a lot of medals. And if we look at the team score, we can see that the Marceau top dog with 2,152 base XP. Very good. Alaska came in second with 2,146, and the Lauria just shy by 41 points of the lead at 2,111 from Dumpy Frog. So a damn fine performance from them all. And the Schliefflin, he did okay, didn't he? He did okay. Right, let's look at the detailed report. Okay, 216,953 damage. 163,000 of that was from the SAP, 38,000 from the AP. That tells a story. The secondary batteries, the SAP shells, did 4,283. And from ramming, 10,175 damage inflicted. Okay, if we look at the credits, we can see he's running the 40% booster, hence 613,952 credits after deductions. 100% booster on the ship XP, so kind of expected, and Commander XP 200% booster. Okay. Well, this has been the Regalo de Lauria, and my name's LoneGun, and I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did commenting on it. And thank you, Dumpy Frog. Great upload, mate, and a wonderful battle. Well played. Thank you all for watching. Thank you.